Hey everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trial number 262. Then before we get into it, there were a set of patch notes today. Patch 2.2 is out. There's a small set of changes to expeditions that I have gone ahead and made to the site. Just a few things down here. Of course, the big one will be that they've taken away this offering bonus on Luminous Dusk, so you shouldn't be running into as many Nightfall decks. And then just a small set of changes down here. Pesky Spectre and Ravenous Butcher taken out of Afterlife. A couple random not terrible cards added to Augmented Assault. That's the Victor Riven augment pool. Zap Sprayfin added to Moonlit Heist. A couple cards removed. And then Poro Cannon and Zonite Urchin added to Sherman Boom and Sightful Investigator taken away. And so, no big shakeups, nothing big and crazy happening here. The only thing I can kind of say with these is I do kind of hope that as more cards are released, they're able to give some of these pools a little bit more identity. As it stands, there's not really much difference between playing Shroom and Boom Teemo and playing Total Recall Teemo. There's not much difference in playing Afterlife Callista compared to Retribution Callista, outside of the fact Afterlife having Mistwraiths in it. And then kind of the same thing with that applies to Nocturne. Like as I've said many times before, I was really surprised that they just made a completely new pool for the Mistwraith and the Nocturne, as opposed to either taking Callista out of Afterlife or doing some kind of like joint pool between Callista and Nocturne. That this is our Mistwraith pool. Really strange to me that some of these pools don't really have a whole lot of identity, and so I understand that to a degree that is just given the number of cards that have been released. The part of these ideals could be something that's a year or two in the works, and it can't be fully fleshed out until the future cards are released. It's just some of these pools just doesn't feel like the idea with Total Recall is that I'm going to be playing a Chump Wump and returning it to my hand and getting those puff caps and then replaying him for more puff caps, as to where Sherman Boom tends to be more of a kind of all in on the puff caps theme. So with like Total Recall, you could be getting value from something else. You could be, with the Zonite Urchin, you could replay him for that kind of card cycle effect. There's supposed to be different ways to get value out of those recalls. It may just be a fact that theme just isn't good enough, but I do kind of wish there was something that made it really feel like Sherman Boom was a different deck than Total Recall, outside of Mystic Shots not being in Total Recall. But nonetheless, that's a developer problem and not a Bust problem. They're here to fix the problems. I'm just here to bitch about them. And so let's go ahead and get going with this trial here. See what we can find at number 262. So, okay, interesting little set. A lot of hot garbage in this one. And so I'm kind of interested in the Spellslinger's Fizz. They have recently just done some work in here to where this is supposed to kind of, this pool shows what like the Spellslinger's Fizz is supposed to be doing. If you stay current with my work, we talked a lot about this in our last Lee Sin trial. Lee Sin pairs up with Fizz here. One of the problems we ran into that trial was I accidentally took a Bilgewater card without realizing my mistake, and then we just saw a whole bunch of horrible Bilgewater cards all throughout the trial. Still took it to 7 wins, maybe it was 6, maybe it was 7, I don't remember, but kind of the idea with this side, the Bilgewater side of this pool, is that you're supposed to be, playing cards like Double Trouble and Chum the Waters. These are spells that generate units as a way to get your spells played for Fizz or for Lee Sin, because the idea being, it's kind of tough if you just want to say like play 2 Twin Disciplines in a turn, or if you want to just play 2 cards that don't actually draw cards, don't actually interact with the board. Like if you're just trying to play 2 combat tricks over and over again, you're going to run out of spells before your deck can really pop off. And so that's where things like Double Trouble and Chum the Waters come into play, is you're, just playing units as you normally would, a standard game of Runeterra, but they count as spells for Fizz. But, it looks like in the most recent set of cards, they've looked to kind of pivot Fizz out of this. He used to just be a big pile of card draw along with these spells that generate units. Now it kind of looks like he's either trying to be Bilgewater Elusives, or he's trying to be a Sea Monster style deck. I can actually pull him up real quick. That's where we had. We're going to go with Fizz and Spellslingers. So yeah, it's like, he used to just be like, okay, well, we're going to play a bunch of like Pool Sharks, a bunch of these like 1-cost cards like Shell Shocker. I think Wanted Poster used to live here at some point. And then we're going to use these like card draw cards to fuel Pilfered Goods. And then all of these additional cards that we've drawn can be used to power out the spells that we need to play multiple spells in the same turn. But now it's kind of like the Wave Rider lives here, Jal Hunter lives here for whatever reason. They thought they moved another one down here. The Burblefish came out, and so they have the two epic elusives as well. And so short of the Abyssal Eye, all of the Bilgewater elusives live in this card pool. Why Jal Hunters is here, I don't know. It doesn't thematically fit. Maybe they just felt like this needed some interaction. But it's kind of a weird pool. Like Wanted Poster doesn't live here for whatever reason. Double Trouble does. But it's so weird to me that the actual spell that generates units doesn't live in this one. But nonetheless, this is not a card pool that I will take first. Just not enough happening here. This is not a real theme. If you're in the second pack, like there's a few card pools that are happy to pick up this Fizz. So if you're playing with a what's it called, the scrap heap thing, not scrap heap, the Fishbones theme, the 1-drops deck, this could be particularly good. If you're trying to just do some kind of like aggressive card draw Twisted Fate deck, then this can do good. But there's very, very, very specific pools that we need for this Fizz to be happy. And down here, kind of the same thing applies with this Darius. If we're taking him second and really wanted to be a Noxus, then this might be okay. But with this, like starting with Ravenous Flock Guile, we really need to either be in Yasuo or we need to be in Swain for these cards to get very much use. And so it's just quite the supporting card pool here. Disruption is one of the worst pools in the game, and I do believe if we pull up our tier list that both the Spellslingers and the Disruption are living in the tier 5 section. Let me pull that up real quick. I'm just curious now. Yeah, here's the Disruption Darius, and then the Spellslinger's Fizz right at the bottom of tier 5. And so we're just going to take this Raiding Party Sejuani. I just don't think these other two pools, have a lot of play to them. Again, I'm happy to take them with a second pick, given the right initial champion. But when we're up to like 70-something card pools, 80-something card pools, and we're looking for a specific like 3, then I'm not really willing to just roll the dice on that. We're just basically all that's going to happen is we're going to find a champion in the second pack and just build around it the best that we can. And so at least with this Sejuani, she can be built around. This Raiding Party theme is good. This involves, leveling up your Sejuanis and getting Plunders and dealing damage to your opponent on their turn and our turn. Lots of interesting things we can do here. Then at the very worst, if we just end up with a Sejuani in our deck, then fine. She's a big bruiser. She can deal with combat on her own. She has this interactive ability, which can be good, something that you don't see a lot of in Freylord. And so, this is a pretty good start, at least, as far as a Sejuani Overwhelms build around goes. And so let's take a moment and get her pulled up on the site. I've already kind of dabbled around here a little bit, but if you're not familiar with what we're doing here, this is ftpbus.com. It's where I keep my collection of all of my expedition content. It's got my tier lists here in the text section, or the image version down here. I should probably make an easier way to find that, but kind of is what it is at this point. And then the guide sections where I keep all of my YouTube videos. The set reviews come out about a week or so once the new cards are released. But today we'll be over here in the Expedition Helpers section. We're just going to scroll all the way down to Sejuani, pick up the Raiding Party, and we're going to get an idea of all the cards that live in this card pool. And so, kind of, as mentioned, the idea that we have here is this Raiding Party theme is kind of centered on Plunders. Sejuani and Gangplank both level up by dealing damage to our opponents. The way that the Freylord half of this tries to deal damage to our opponents is with Overwhelms. And so, if we play a Ruthless Raider on 2, attack with it, our opponent blocks with a 2 health unit, we got that piece of Overwhelm damage in. So that ticks up our Sejuani. We can activate Plunders. And so what this really kind of devolves into is Overwhelm's a pretty good ability, and we tend to just fall into being an Overwhelm's deck. And so even if we're attacking and trading with our opponent units, then we typically get some kind of like bonus value, and then it's pretty easy to just get a bigger board than your opponents that you just overrun them in the end game. But, as we're going to see in this card pool, pretty much all of the units have Overwhelm. Sejuani has it, Mighty Poro, Ruthless Raider, the Spirit Walker if you hit the Plunder, the Wolf Rider, the Ancient Yeti. Pretty much everything here has Overwhelm. And so, kind of the big things is with this, you'll try to like stall out the board a bit. The Yetis are pretty good at that. You can give your Yetis Overwhelm with the Ursine Spirit Walkers if you need to. But this is really just kind of like the mid to late game half of an Overwhelms deck. And so there's not really any interaction here. None of the Frostbites are in this pool. Caught in the Cold isn't in this pool. It's just got a handful of combat tricks and Elixir of Iron, Fury of the North, maybe one down here, Shared Spoils and Take Heart. but it's got the very good mid to late game units. Has a handful of early game units, some middling combat tricks, but otherwise, just dudes and tricks. That's all. That's all we're catching out of Sejuani here. Okay, with this other set, oh, these are pretty horrible choices as far as things to pair with Sejuani. We have a couple of options. We could take the Fishbones with the idea of being a Yetis deck. You can play your 5/5 Yetis for 1 mana, have them get kind of boosted by Jagged Taskmaster. No, that sounds awful. That's not something that we're really going to be looking to do. Down here with Lee Sin, this is not a particularly appealing card pool. He doesn't pair that well with Freylord. Just having the Frostbites just isn't what he's really trying to do. He really needs some kind of like card draw spells and spells that we can play multiple copies of, like things like Retreat that can play two cards in the same turn. Just not a lot of good combos between Lee Sin and Freylord. Like, what are we supposed to do? We're gonna frostbite a unit, give Lee Sin Challenger Barrier, and then just barrier into that frostbitten unit. That sounds horrible, right? And so that seems all around pretty awkward between the way the two sets of spells interact with each other. And, kind of the last one down here with this Ezreal. This is a horrible Ezreal start. We're kind of okay sometimes with pairing Ezreal with Freylord, but that's usually with Ashe. Like I think that we can find with Ashe is like Harsh Winds. You get the Frostbite Archer, you get the Avarosian Marksman, just the units that count as level up targets, in addition to the various spells we get in. What is this, Piltover? And so, we can typically try to pair him up with Bilgewater for Make It Rains, Freylord for those units that target things, or you can kind of use Noxus in the sense that there's things like Stun Spider to get extra ticks on our Ezreal. But in general, these cards are not good pickups. Like if we were in Ancient Evil Tryndamere and saw Fishbones, there's a lot that we can pull off with that. There's a lot of those cheap Yetis. Like the 1-cost Yeti, there's Omen Hawks that live in that card pool, but this is kind of gross. I think Omen Hawk does show up if you take Fishbones, but that's tough. The ideal here is just that, it is going to put us into Bilgewater. We can probably find some kind of like Make It Rainy kind of cards, but maybe we could pull off this Ezreal if we think that we're still going to... My big thing with Sejuani, and Gangplank for that matter, is if we want to level it up, we really need to be dealing damage to our opponent on their turn, right? She doesn't have any trouble dealing damage on our turn. We just have all these humongous overwhelms. It's pretty easy to get an overwhelm in for a tick. But if we can't attack on our opponent's turn, then we can really only get these level ups on like half the game. And so even if we start, leveling up on the first turn, it's going to be turn 9 before our Sejuani can be flipped. And so we're really looking for ways to deal damage to our opponent on their turn. With Bilgewater, you can do it with like Make It Rain, you can do it with Parlay, you can do it with the various monkey cards. There's a few ways to deal damage to your opponent on their turn, and then with Piltover, we can just do it with spells, right? We can Static Shock our opponent's face, we could Mystic Shot face, although that's not an entirely appealing play. We do have a few ways to go about it with Piltover. But man, this is tough. This is not a good Sejuani pairing, but oh man, I didn't even stop to consider this also puts us in our third faction, being stuck in Piltover. So this is close. Like with Sejuani, I really like to pair her with a better Bilgewater pool than this. Something like a Twisted Fate that has a bunch of early game units. Twisted Fate has, with his own ability, he can like play red card and get a tick up on Sejuani. Since this is not an ideal set of units, these Ezreal cards are so bad. This Death's Door card pool is not very good. This is close. I don't think we're going to... I'm going to take this Ezreal. Here's my reasoning, is I don't think we're going to get a whole lot of value out of these Fishbones cards. It's just, like I said, again, if we were in the Tryndamere pool that has Omen Hawk, that's the only pool in the game that has Omen Hawk in it, then I would be kind of like okay with taking these cards. Like, it might show up. Man, it all comes down to the Omen Hawk, does it? It's like it might show up if we're in Fishbones. You do see a lot of cards from the other factions if you're in Fishbones. It kind of applies the 1-drops from the faction that you've chosen into this card pool, so the Omen Hawk could show up. But this is close. Oh man, this is close. It's just like the themes I want are in Bilgewater, but these Ezreal cards are like, feels like the way we should be going, but are just so bad. Hmm. All right, well, here's what I'm going to do. The Jagged Taskmaster says Plunder on it, and Fizz is a 1-drop. So that's kind of like where we're hurting on the Sejuani side of things is in the early game. And so I'm going to jump in and take this Fishbones Fizz. The call has been made. And so let's at least pull him up here real quick. The important thing here as this is a very one-drop centric deck, we're gonna have to decide very quick if we want to build like a Plunder style deck and focus on Sejuani, or if we want to build a Fishbone style deck and focus on the one-drops. It's just when we're coming to draft this Fishbone style deck, I do try to really push for 10 one-drops in it, and so we really have to go out of our way to make sure we're picking up a 1-drop essentially out of every single pack in the early game, and so or in the early part of the draft. So there are a ton of 1-drops here. The Codger, Butcher. This is wanted poster. I keep calling Jailbreak wanted poster. I mean the picture's a fucking wanted poster, right? But then the big one being Pull Shark, Cutthroat, Shell Shocker. See all kinds of just 1-drops here. Has a touch of the card draw in Pull Shark and Black Market Merchant, and then of course the big card being Jagged Taskmaster. So, I mean, I think this will be okay. We just have to just kind of like hit our plunders with these early game cards and then maybe pick up a Make It Rain or two or something along the way. But this is going to be the big thing we decide on early. Are we building towards this, the Taskmaster Von Yip, or are we going to try to trade away this Von Yip early and just be a Sejuani based deck? Okay. Well, if we're looking to pick up some 1-drops, they're certainly here. But then there's also the extremely powerful card in Jack the Winner, and then pretty powerful cards down here in Brutal Steel, Avaroja, and Sentry. But I don't think I'm quite ready to just push away from Fishbones. These are both pretty powerful 1-drops. It's not like we're picking up some of the weaker ones here, and I do want to see if we can't like pick up some Omen Hawks. I think we're okay to just start out like this. Okay, and then we got to continue on with it. Jailbreak, not a huge fan of, but Shell Shocker is growing on me as one of the better early game plays. And then with these other packs, we just don't want Chum the Waters, although it does fit to the Overwhelms theme. Maybe maybe we do need to kind of slow our roll a little bit and consider that we might actually just end up in the Overwhelms deck. This isn't an ideal Overwhelm, but this is a 5-attack Overwhelm unit. And then down here with the Battle Fury, we'll hopefully pick up a Battle Fury at some point, just not with Fury of the North. Man, I can't bring myself to, like, I guess we're getting a 1-drop either way, and the Prowling Cutthroat is a very good one, but I still kind of have this feeling that we might end up in the Overwhelms, and I don't want to let those cards go. Okay, and then as far as these go, I'm going to take the Icefell Archer Brittle Steel. This is a reasonable pack down here, but I don't really like mystifying magicians in this theme. Like, I get it. You're going to play all these 1-drops. This gives you a way to turn the 1-drops into a 5-drop. It's just, I don't feel like it's a very strong theme. The Make It Rain is kind of interesting. Again, if we're wanting to deal damage to our opponents on their turn, Make It Rain is kind of the premier way to do it. But these interactive cards down here are just too good, I think. Too good to pass up. Okay, so I mean, we aren't fully giving up on the Overwhelms theme with the Parlay Ruthless Raider. I'm pretty happy to pick these up. I still just don't feel like we're gonna really want to be in like all in on Fishbones. I think that we're gonna trade away this Von Yip as soon as we can. And so I'm happy here to pick up Parlay. It gives us a way to deal damage to our opponent on their turn, and then Ruthless Raider being the ideal Overwhelm unit. Okay, and they continue. And again, we've got another Overwhelm with the Plunder activator, with kind of another 1-drop. It's good stuff here. I'm not real keen on having the Sheriff in these style of decks. We shouldn't have too much trouble here. I do think that we're going to pivot over into this Sejuani theme, give up on the 1-drops. And I don't really want the Sheriff if we're going to be in Overwhelms. We're going to have 3 Sejuanis. We'll pick up 1 or 2 more expensive Overwhelm units, and then she just doesn't really fit in anymore. Oh, cool. Feel the rush. Okay. All right. I'm on board. That always plays well with Sejuani. And I mean, I don't think it'll just immediately give Fizz elusive, but having the option to give your 10/10 unit elusive, it's not the worst thing you could be doing. And then of course Lonely Poro. We are still sort of in like the Fishbones to a little bit. Lonely Poro is fantastic in that sense, making 2 1-cost units. Okay, okay. It sucks to be passing all these trappers, but we've got another Corsair with an Ancient Yeti. Ancient Yeti's one of the better late game overwhelms that we could be finding here. And okay, with this one, it's fair to just skip over these 8s. These are both trash. No two ways around that. I'm pretty happy with the Pilfered Goods Scar Maiden Reaver down here. We have a ton of ways to hit these Plunders now, and so the Pilfered Goods should be pretty easy to kick off, and then Scar Maiden Reaver is one of the better late game units. If we end up with like 2 Reavers, 3 Sejuanis, and 2 Ancient Yetis, then that should be a pretty good late game package. Okay, or with the Starlit Seer Alpha Wildclaw. We don't have that many spells, so the Starlit Seer isn't super impressive, but we should look to actually be trading into a few more spells. We just haven't really seen any combat tricks show up, so this is kind of one of the premier 2-drops that I'm happy to pick up. Okay, okay, so I don't think we want the Spirit Walker in this style of deck. We're going to end up with another Alpha Wildclaw here. This is a little bit too much top end, but it should be okay. Especially, once we pick up our 3rd Sejuani, then we'll be happier about trading these away, but we do need some late game now. And so with the Spirit Walker, I like this if we're in the Yeti's deck. This will transform, give all of your 5 power units Overwhelm, and this plays out pretty well if you're going to have 3 and 4 Yetis on the board, but we only have like one. Do we even take it? I don't think we've even taken it. Like, we don't have any Yeti Yearlings or Avrosian Trappers, so the Spirit Walker's value really goes down, right? Because all of our big units already have Overwhelm, so it's not a super important take. Okay, interesting set. This isn't a deck where Augmented Experimenter is going to play well. I'm fine to just let this go. So the one I'm interested in here is Caught in the Cold. Like kind of a similar reason to why we aren't like ultra upset about having Chum the Waters, is we just don't really have any removal spells in this deck, right? We've seen one Parlay. Otherwise, it's just like Make It Rain and Scrap Shot. Not really good spells as far as interacting with your opponent's cards. And the Caught in the Cold will allow us to interact. And so we're getting pretty top heavy on our units, but this kind of is what it is at this stage. We're going to have to hope we can trade away some of these as we come in and just take another expensive one. I'm trying to think, how close we can be to getting an Avrosian Outriders in our deck. I really like this card, but we're way too far away from adding Allegiance cards. And so, as much as I hate it that Stairs, Lonely Poro will have to be okay here, and then we can hope to just trade away at the Stairs at some point. Okay, and then with these, this is not a good set of trades. I want absolutely nothing to do with Death Ray. This card is garbage. We did pick up 2 cards to get vulnerable, so we can kind of like deal with our opponent's early game Teemo if it comes down to it. Not easily, but we can do it. Down here, I think we should hang on to our Parlay. We don't have a whole lot of interaction at this point, and that does bring us to Suit Up, which I'm going to actually switch over to. We have enough 1-drops to be a 1-drops theme. We're not really trying to do that, but we managed to get there in the end, and I just want this other interactive card. So, okay, then we do have to go and make someone premium. We're getting down to the dregs of what we can upgrade here. I think Alpha Wildclaw is unupgraded, and so that's going to be our big boy for this trial. Let's go and upgrade the Wildclaw. I was looking at all these cheap plays, and I think for the most part they're leveled up. Maybe like Crackshot Corsair or the Codger isn't, but I'm pretty sure like Jagged Butcher, Lonely Poro, probably Prowling Cutthroat are already upgraded, and so I think the Wildclaw will be a good choice. Probably the most expensive card we've made premium. So, welcome to the club. All right, yeah, I did notice in some of the patch notes they said they did something to the prismatics. I don't know if it made them more visible or some kind of other animation, but it's supposed to be something different about them. Then they also added these little faction things up in the top right, and so I'm sure that'll be helpful for the people that are newer to the game. But here we are, ready to go. Just it's such like a wide polarity of our mana curve here. It's like we have the 10 1-drops, and then we have this like 3 Alpha Wildclaw monstrosity at the top end. And so we have some work to do as far as our mana curve is concerned, especially since we plan on picking up multiple Sejuanis. And, but at least, we shouldn't have too much trouble finding something to do in the early game. We have all these 1-drops. I think this will play out well. It's just our big weakness here is we can't really interact very well. And so I'd like to trade away some of these expensive units for some interaction. It's just we're going to have eventually have 3 Sejuanis, and then the various vulnerable givers, the Caught in the Cold and the Chum the Waters. But okay, Darius Zed. I wonder if he started with that Disruption Darius and took a Zed second. Since the Disruption Darius is the one that pairs with Ionia. Nonetheless, the start is reasonable. I'm always pretty happy to be starting with Ancient Yetis. They'll come down pretty quickly. And then we had the Starlit Seer for turn 2. Arguably should have kept that Wolf Rider. It's not too hard for us to go around our opponents here and get that Wolf Rider in for a hit. Okay, well, we have a Brittle Steel, so I feel okay about playing the Ruthless Raider.
Tales of our past are seeds for our future. Think before you strike.
I'm just going to let this happen. Not like... Oh, even better. Okay. I was going to say, my only like big worry at this stage is that he plays Zed next turn. And so if he plays Zed, that's going to be a problem. You can't even Brittle Steel him now that he's played the Greenglade Elder twice. But that was my like reasoning behind not wanting to Brittle Steel the Greenglade Elder when we have the blocker, of course. Just going to have to block this over and over again. I'm just going to put the Poro Fly down now. We're going to have a blocker in front of this. I've got to Chum the Waters on Zed and then try to just kill him next turn. Should be tough for him to interact with the Shark. Then are we missing out on too much by not playing any of these other cards? Like playing this 3-mana Ancient Yeti? I think we probably want to add the Yeti. We can still Brittle Steel and stuff into this board. Probably just go ahead and add Fizz as well. So this is going to be like a concussive palm as to why he's not playing any cards here. Which I'm okay with. We're going to get a big blasting in.
Leave nothing standing.
And then, probably just want to hook him with the Shark. Anything that he has that would kill the Shark also kills the Yeti, right? If he's going to Whirling Death, it's going to get a kill down here. I think this is fine. Yep, same thing as Concussive Palm. He had something. What would cost 2 mana? This is okay now. Let's keep our width. Retreat, sure. Got any good blockers to in front of him so that we can hit him with the Take Heart? I don't think that's going to happen.
Tremble before the winter's claw.
Stay safe. I'll take it from here.
This is pretty good for us. I mean, we got a good block onto Zed again. Well, I wouldn't call it a good block. We have a block. This is going to drop us to 7. Sure. So I'm just going to take one of these units that doesn't have Overwhelm and hook his Zed way down on the right. So his only blocker should be the Navori Conspirator. Don't want to give him a chance to play spells, so we're not going to Caught in the Cold here. Couldn't care less about this Fizz. let's get you to be the one to hook down here. And I guess, to a degree, one of the bigger things this... Oh, we played our Brittle Steel, but I was going to say one of the things this does let us do is Brittle Steel Zed later. if he takes this piece of damage. We're gonna be one short, aren't we? Yep. Okay.
Step lightly.
No greater gift than
Let's go ahead and add the spider. Pretty good chance that he, if he doesn't open on us and we get this caught in the cold on Zed, extremely good. So, you can at least put some blockers in front of that thing. I mean, let's at least stop the 12 damage from Zed as opposed to the big overwhelm from this thing.
Walk softly, strike quickly. Eyes open.
A fight!
The 3? So we... Oh, risk it. We die to like Twin Discipline, Sharpened Resolve with this block. But it seems really tough for us to win if we don't have an additional Overwhelm unit on the board. Okay.
Set it all ablaze!
And we do have this take heart since he played Death's Hand for whatever reason. And not all these these cards are just our downfall. This has to be a spot that's just good for an open attack, right? Okay. Man, never gonna get through this Zed.
The Yordle here's with me.
Damn. Yeah, I guess we had choices. We could have played another Scar Maiden Reaver, but that just never feels like it's the correct play.
Mercy.
There's our Crackshot Corsair. Day late and $1 short, my bud.
tales of our past are seeds for our
Okay. So let's see. All right, I'm happy to get rid of Von Yip. We're going to turn into a more of an Overwhelm style deck, and I don't. The Von Yip is just not a card that plays particularly well here. He wants a bunch of spell generated units. The thing that you get a lot of raw power out of Von Yip with is if you play him on turn 4 with 3 spell mana, and then you play like a double trouble or something. Otherwise, you play him on turn 4, and then you just have to wait until the next turn to try to drop a bunch of 1-drops, and that's kind of awkward. And so I'm happy to just go ahead and get rid of him. We're not going to be a full build, 1-drop build around here. All right. Let's see if we can save our trial here. I don't know what these deal with these game ones is. It feels like I'll lose game 1 like 80% of the time. I don't know what it is. Right, a mirror match of sorts. So, this is tough. Like in a lot of these matchups, I do really recommend hanging on to your champion. I should not say in a lot of these matchups, in the round 0 match, where we just have one card or one copy of that specific champion. And
Don't mind the knife.
I really like to hang on to it because the power level is so high. But given kind of the makeup of our deck here, we have 2 Reavers, 3 Wild Claws, an Ancient Yeti. I don't feel like it's super important that we go out of our way to hang on to that champion, even though it does have a interactive ability. See, he's in the same thing here, kind of a Fishbones style-y deck with. He's with Sejuani Gangplank though, so he's going to be the full raiding party. I'd love to trade this Fizz for a Gangplank. That's for certain.
Don't ask where it's from. Ask how much.
We're kind of in a bind here. I think we just want to go ahead and play this thing and attack. Give him the opportunity to trade here. Like if we trade his Black Market Merchant for an Icevale Archer, then kind of whatever. Yeah, this was a bad play for though. That was a big play for him. We just have to pass now. I thought we were going to be able to open into smaller units, so we could like open into his 1/1 and his 2/1. Whereas we don't quite care to trade away some of these guys into that stuff, but the addition down here was a little too strong.
Pillage and burn.
Time to get rich.
Open wide. Sugar.
Okay. Oh, we're about to get the Freylord side of this going. We're gonna get the Ancient Yeti and a Scar Maiden Reaver in. As long as we aren't running into his champions, then we should be okay with this. Sure, whatever.
Save the homestead.
Set it all ablaze.
Where you going?
Okay,
Win.
let's see what we pilfer.
Smell that barg? Fear.
Some stuff. Pilfered some stuff. Okay. I don't. No, we'll have to see what. It's kind of interesting here as to whether or not we want to brittle steel this Prowling Cutthroat. I don't think we do. It is going to let him level up his Sejuani and his Gangplank, but like, what are the chances he's even drawing him at this point? Then I'm also suspect of this. Like, do we need to just brittle steel this thing now? Why would he attack with this into our Scar Maiden Reaver? So if we want to, like, if we block and then he plays like a Fury of the North, then we just lose our unit. So I think I'm just going to let this one happen. I'm just going to go ahead and brittle steel here to prevent these shenanigans. So if he does Fury of the North now, then his unit's protected. And say if he has an Elixir of Iron, then we still just bounce, which is okay. How far away are we from deep? Not ultra far away. I think we are wanting to build up to this Ithid Stairs, which we can play next turn. So let's just add the beast below. Okay. The brittle steel. Nice. This is going to leave him with a 4/1 unit, and then we're going to kill everything else. Seems pretty good, right? I talk a lot of trash about Ithid Stairs, but I must admit, this is pretty decent here. not the worst Ithid Stairs we've ever played.
I never.
Ain't no
And we can brittle steel this Jagged Butcher.
Gotcha in my sights.
you poor thing. What's that you got there?
Alright, that leaves us in a pretty commanding position.
Louise! To me! Only a scratch.
Have to assume we're okay from here. Alright, we made it. No goose egg today. Let's see, we're just taking the Sejuanis here. I mean, we could arguably come down and take Gangplanks. But my problem is twofold. He doesn't interact. Frostbite, or Sejuani having this caught in the cold Frostbite vulnerability, and then we don't have anything to take advantage of the powder kegs. We just have the single parlay in our deck. Outside of that, it's going to be like, man, I hope we get an additional damage to this Crack Shock Corsair. And so, Sejuani it is. It does pick up a bunch of cards that we don't actually want. The Ember Maiden's a pretty big non-bow for a lot of what our deck is actually doing here, but it is what it is. We're just gonna have to Ooh, goodness. I'm just gonna have to get some good trades. Right. Warming up here. Warming up in the game. Warming up out here in Kansas City. Got up to 10 degrees today. So I think it was about a pretty solid -1 when I woke up this morning, and then we got to 10 in the afternoon. It's dropping down again. I mentioned it. I liked it yesterday. Not yesterday, but in the previous trial. It was oh, here, interesting. We're gonna get in for 2. The biggest thing that he could play here would be a Yeti Yearling, which isn't unlikely since he's playing a Nivea. So I'm going to play the Corsair. It should interact with any 1-drop that he plays. We should be able to attack every time with this, and then if he doesn't have anything, it's 2 damage. But no, I was getting a little salty in the previous trial, and so I had to say, you know, I gotta keep my salt put away, save it for all the roads out here in Kansas City, and
Don't mind the nose.
made me happy. But all right, this is a pretty good open. Assume he's not going to play anything here, and we're going to hit him for 5.
Ready, aim.
Brothers born from battle.
We're about to add a big boy here in the Ancient Yeti as well. It's looking pretty decent.
This land is ours.
This, I've never seen this little legend before. I don't think that's what they're called in this game. Up here in the top left, these little things. We always play with the cats because we know what we're about, but this must be one of the new ones. I don't know what that would belong to. It doesn't look like a Phelios or anything. It's one of the older ones. Ooh, and a suit up? What a spot to hit a suit up. I was wanting to open attack anyways because we just spiked this Wolf Rider. We're going to get some love with it, but let's throw it in here. He's going to put some. We're probably going to lose our Fizz, which I don't care about. The big thing here is we're going to protect our Crackshot Corsair. And he should know that like some shenanigans are afoot here when we, you know, attack with the Fizz and the Corsair. But see if he realizes what he's about to fully get himself into. It'll also give us a target for Take Heart if we want, but I think we'll probably just want to play the Wolf Rider after the fact. Okay. The more after I did that, the less I liked it. But we're still going to get a huge Fizz attack in on the next turn. We can Take Heart and give him Elusive.
Rome is on the job.
Alright, get those mana crystals, hit that plunder. Things are looking pretty good here.
We'll take what we want. The rest will burn. No mercy for cowards.
I'm just going to take this.
Show me your best.
It's not a particularly intimidating attack. Well, I guess the question comes down to is like, why is he attacking with Vrenna? I guess, you know, on one side of the coin, none of our units can actually take her down. So maybe she is an okay block. He's going to have a 5 health to throw in front of one thing. I think this is going to be 7, 8 from Fizz. I think this is okay. Let's just go ahead and take whatever his trick is, if he even has one. And if he doesn't have one, her having, you know, 1 health is very good with this giant pile of overwhelms we're about to send at his way.
It is easy, see?
Feel the rush.
I'll be quick. Blood on the snow.
That should get us somewhere good, right? I mean, he has harsh winds. He'll survive, but gonna need a lot to get out of this.
You fool!
These are trades, but they're trades for a ton of damage. So if the single frostbite on Fizz is lethal, he'd have to rearrange his blockers, but if he has the frostbite, it's not over. Okay.
I'll take everything.
Stand behind Braun!
Sure.
Smell that, Varg? Fear.
Ye started without me!
Need to play an archer? I don't think so. We can fill the rush down to Sejuani next turn. Still technically do both if we want.
Smash them!
So who would we want to hit with the archer? Usgar is going to try to hook Fizz, which is annoying. So we should probably shut that down.
Not and ready!
Add Reaver, but he's going to attack, and then we have the Feel the Rush for next turn. Okay. Big thing with Feel the Rush is it gives our Fizz elusive as well.
Have you met my shield?
He's tapped out, so once he decides on what he wants to do here, then we can just kind of block at will. Like, this is reasonable. Means our Fizz would die to a brittle steel, but this attack's not even lethal, is it? We should use the archer, I think, just to try to get some of these stats off board. This is probably the most ideal one since it doesn't have overwhelm. And fall to 7. Okay, I dig it.
Look how we have grown!
Break the strong. Slaughter the weak.
To Reaver, now we'll feel the rush. Make KDA noises and get our 10-10 Sejuani out here.
Pain is nothing.
Alright, well, this one should take some work. If he just passes it back to us, say, what up, buddy? Here's another harsh winds. Okay, good deal. I've always been kind of like conflicted in these decks that have Feel the Rush in them, as if we should go and take a third champion. Because, hang on, let's see this real quick. Avalanche is kind of interesting here. Does kill a lot of our own early game, but all of our late game can survive it pretty well. Seems like we've already kind of got the early game cards that Avalanche is good against covered. Let's take this Erosion Outriders. We're not, spot on as being an Allegiance deck, but we're about a 2-to-1 to hit once we pick this up, which I'm pretty cool with. But no, it's like I was kind of thinking, do we want to pick up another Gangplank or the third Sejuani? Because, we run into that spot like that game where we'd already drawn Fizz, right? So that means we're only ever going to hit one champion off the Feel the Rush. Do where if we split out to being the 3 champion deck, you know, if we draw our single copy of Fizz, then we can still, you know, feel the rush out Sejuani Gangplank. It's tough. I'm not sure what the answer to that is. It seems like in this particular deck, we'd be happy to pick up a, you know, a Tryndamere or a Gangplank or something. But in a lot of decks, it's just not the case. This will hang on to Parlay. Just have an early game play. That's weird. I don't have the answer to that. I think I probably want to just pick up the Gangplank or the Tryndamere, but
Finger on the trigger.
do miss out on having access to Fury of the Norths. Like Sejuani just does like 3 copies of Sejuani just does a lot of what our deck has problems with, right? She
Explosive prime.
you know, she gives us a way to interact with her ability. She flips into a combat trick and is just an all-around good unit. Because, you know, we talked about Gangplank earlier. He just doesn't do a whole lot.
In range.
See what happens. I don't think we want to get too aggressive with this Crackshock Corsair. Probably don't want to just play Ember Maiden, but this will shut him down from attacking. I think it's okay. It's going to tick up our Sejuani, activate our Wolf Rider. We're getting a bit of love out of this thing. That's good enough.
Embers and smoke.
If he has a barrier or whatever, I'm okay with it. Yep.
Burn them all.
So do we ever just take heart this Crackshock Corsair? Because we can add our 5/5. Oh, we can actually play these big boys. All right. Fine.
You own.
So close to leveling. She's going to level up on this hit. It has no tricks though. But
Captain's orders. Bullet to the face.
he wants to just take this hit. Oh man. Oh no. I guess it doesn't matter. Once I started to think about it, I realized we're going to flip off the Crackshock Corsair. And then have an Overwhelm to activate the Sejuani ability. But, okay. Might just be far enough ahead to where this stuff doesn't matter. Probably just want to go for width here, right? As long as our units don't die, our Sejuani's just gonna, you know, we're gonna attack and frostbite his whole team next turn. See if he's willing to attack into Ancient Yeti. I don't plan on blocking his 5/5, but
You pay, I fight.
Peer beyond.
I have to block something. Oh boy. Okay.
Scared stiff.
Vermin.
Blood on the snow.
That's gonna frostbite his whole team. Should probably play a unit first. Still gonna frostbite his team either way, but might as well get these stats on board. It's very tough for this deck to actually do anything about it. This can't block. He's only got 2 blockers here.
March as one, an unstoppable force.
Got us covered.
I think this will end it.
I'll make this quick.
For the Empire.
Like 1 whirling death. Take down this thing. He still dies to Sejuani. He can rearrange some of this though. He could put his 3/2 in front of the Starlit Seer, 6/6 down somewhere else. Do some stuff, but so this takes him to -3, so we'll just let it happen. Okay, good game, friend. So alright, the big decision. Do we want to pick up a third champion? It's just seeing Sejuani be so good that game. It's like we only have one field rush. What do you see? It's with a Gangplank. This is a pretty good Gangplank, though. Fine. Take him. We could just trade away this Fizz for a Gangplank and then just have 3 Sejuanis, but I think this is okay. I really like Ancient Yeti in these decks. Right, on to the next one. And make it without putting my hood on. We had to do our part for the world by turning a thermostat down. Make sure everyone still has power out here in the Midwest. So. Put on a hat and a blanket. Easy peasy. We can handle it. Alright, that's a reasonable start. Doesn't really get us to our end game, but it's enough to stall out the early game. I can't determine what they did as far as making things more premium goes. I don't know what to say. They did something about in the patch notes about prismatics. I don't know if I still have it up here. Patch notes. What does it say? Prismatic cards have a new minor visual effect when viewed in the collection when being drawn or played. Alright, so let's see it. We're going to play it. Are you ready for the visual effect? What was it? Was it that little like blue border around it? Alright. I'll take your word for it, Riot. But no, I do like this block. One of the things that we see a lot of out of these base Callista decks, especially seeing this be a Callista Maokai deck, is that they tend to play a lot of Blighted Caretakers. And kind of the best way to combat those Blighted Caretakers is just making sure that they don't have any good units to sacrifice. So what you tend to see is the best unit to sacrifice is always that hapless aristocrat. He can come down, make some kind of interaction, and then still have the spiderling left over. And so maybe from his point of view, that's what he's just done. But I like that we're able to come down and really limit them, especially if once like the spiderling goes away, if he has to start sacrificing real units to get into combat here. This is fine. We can deal with her next turn. I want to do this. If we fully bank for 3, we can Caught in the Cold. Kind of do everything. I think we'll be fine. Let's go ahead and add Fizz. Can't do anything here. If we get a Brittle Steel onto Callista, that's great. I have to assume next turn we'll be able to Caught in the Colder. Seems like a very aggressive Callista. What's he gonna do? Just like attack with these two? Okay. We're just not gonna let him make some kind of like unit sacrifice play. So this is the extent of what we're doing. We're going to Caught in the Cold, Shared Spoils, Daring Poro, and then we can just Brittle Steel as well because we have 6 mana. Works for me. I'd like to see him spend some mana before we try to take down this Callista. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And are we willing to trade Fizz for Zap? Yes. And then question number 2 is, are we wanting to Brittle Steel Zap if he blocks Fizz? Probably, just to keep his board cleared out.
Leave nothing standing.
Oh, well, we're certainly doing this.
Wanna see a trick?
Okay.
Why are you here?
I guess to a degree, if you know, we just take all of our advantages while we can get them. If we can stall this game out to turn 9 and feel the rush 2 champions out, we should be in a pretty good spot that way as well. Oh man, we didn't plunder. What's the plan with this? Okay. Guess we should have attacked with the daring. Would we have traded the daring Poro for a plunder there? Probably.
I'll burn for what I've done.
Caretaker us now. We added the good unit here for you.
There you are.
A true Freljordian welcome.
Yep. Got it. Okay. It is nice to pick up the Crackshot Corsair, but it's not going to do much more than just attacking with the Daring Poro. And then he's going to get the Blighted Caretaker down here on the Ruthless Raider, so none of these blocks are good onto the Jagged Butcher. Or you could do it the other way as well, but the Caretaker in front of Butcher, just have to assume that he's going to take out the better unit. Okay. Probably should attack these the other way, so he keep that 2 damage on him. Gonna heal this 2 back up. Stairs. Needed the +1/+1. He might be useful again. I talk a lot of trash about it that stairs, but we've come into multiple spots this trial where we could hit to pretty much annihilate our opponent's board with this guy. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna do a lot of annihilating on our board as well, but might be worth it. I mean, if it comes down to it, we can just obliterate all landmarks. Just the actual do nothing. Okay.
Keep up, keep up. Through the coral.
How worth it do we think this is? We're gonna lose a Crackshot Corsair to do this. We're gonna kill a Zap. It's like if we just attack first, he's just gonna block with these 2 things. We don't have to play it this turn, but we do kind of have to play it this turn.
My arrow won't miss.
I've got us covered.
I think I like this. We're gonna just go ahead and attack. I think the opportunity for us to get in more damage this way. Because he's just going to put the Scribe of Sorrows in front of it that stairs. I mean, maybe we would have got our Yeti in for more damage.
These isles will be cleansed.
Just want to hit landmarks? Probably. I don't think Zap's that big of a deal. I'd rather hang on to our Corsair. Keep onto the health with the Ancient Yeti. I think this is fine. Landmarks have been obliterated. And now we're going to just feel the rush. We'll probably just win the game next turn. Or next attack, I should say. He's gonna play a unit first, though, right? Play a unit because he has Maokai down. Get that sapling. Saplings are magic. Commander Ladros. Oh man. You know, it's interesting about Commander Ladros is we can just play 10-10s and block it. Alright. I don't think this isn't lethal. You can have 6, 10, 12 into our 26 Overwhelm. It's only 14. This would be 15 with the Crackshot Corsair. But, I mean, it does certainly feel better than, I mean, we already played Fizz this game, right? So, at least with this bit of anecdotal evidence, picking up the Gangplank was much better than the third Sejuani. Make sure that we could get the extra champion out here.
Let's do this.
Still curious how I feel about this at the stairs. Okay. So I wonder what this means. This attack with the Ladris means, as if he has a what's it called? Like a 1 damage spell. I'm curious now if we should try to put like Ancient Yeti in front of it to give him 2 health. This would be like 2, 4, 6. 20 minus 6 would be 14 damage. 15 with the Crackshot Corsair. Or what if we block him with the stairs? And he's gonna have. Yeah, I'd say this attack doesn't feel like a good one. Okay. A little far away. I don't feel really good about winning this game. Okay. So now we're gonna have 33 Overwhelm. And like assuming that one of these should get through, right? One of these blocks is going to be better on it than stairs. But well, we did give him the option to play a Saproling now, so we're looking at 33, and he has 6, 10, 14. What's 33 minus 14? that's outside of my. I don't know. I have to pull out the notepad. Oh, or there's that. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I didn't feel real good about winning that one anyways, but I guess that's a way to go about it.
One way or the other.
So let's see. Interesting. It's like we're getting real close with with taking out these Bilgewater cards and getting closer to being a full Overwhelms deck. I think I am happy with this. I do really like these Ancient Yetis if they start in your opener, but given this deck that has, you know, now a Gangplank, 3 Alpha Wild Claws, and the Ancient Yeti, I'd like to push the curve down a little bit. We have quite a bit of top end here, and the high rolls on these Outriders are so super good. So if we could get down to, you know, like 10 not Freylord cards, I think I'd be pretty happy with that. That's close to 75%, right? We play 36 card decks. Okay. Yeah. It has to be. Oh no, I thought I clicked at the stairs. Shit. This has to be Dragon's deck, right? He's playing Targon in here. He just has this weird ass set of champions.
Let's
he has Challenger Bird, it's okay, but I have to assume he's playing two Aurelian Souls and has Targon cards, and so I mean, this has to be dragons. Now we can play Ember Maiden and kill all of our own units. Pretty good combo.
In range.
Okay. We had our first taste of the Fishbones in this one. This is the first time we've plundered this Taskmaster. Love it. I love it. Look at this. We got our 8 mana answer to the Grand Plaza. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited about that. Stupid card. It's at least not as brutal. He can't. Okay. I'm gonna say he can't just you know, go murder mode on every unit that we play because his units are all bigger than ours at the Plaza.
The beast will wait.
But I'm ready. I got this 8 mana card to take care of his 3 mana card. Just need to get there.
You're covered.
What do you think about adding Ember Maidens?
Walking without me.
We can play just to start hitting for face. We're gonna lose the Poro. He can just challenge it down. I do kind of like it this turn though to let us take heart across one of these units that
Laurent Zabon with
this thing doesn't even have challenger.
a cut above the rest.
My steel is yours.
Okay. So what do we think about that? We play Ember Maiden, Starlit Seer. Then we'll have this take heart for next turn. Or I mean, we could just play Sejuani. We play Sejuani in open. That doesn't quite do it.
See through all.
I want to do this. I want Ember Maiden.
The flames take you.
Then we can play Sejuani. I dig.
You own what you take. I saved some for you, Sejuani.
So we just need to get in for 1 damage, right? So I think this is fine. Then if we have to, I mean, we can take heart Ember Maiden down here and make sure that she sticks around for a few turns. But you don't have Overwhelm, so I think we should just do it down here.
An auspicious season.
Okay. Kills the squirrel. It's unfortunately gonna AoE our whole team down next turn. But
I've got your back.
do we ever just go for this now? I kind of like it. Let's get this stupid thing out of here. Could have tried to kill his unit, but I think we're more worried about what comes down after the fact. Okay. May not have realized that we went landmark and not
Honor guide me.
not unit. Could have prevented, but I think this is okay.
The winter's claw endures. Carved from the savage cold. Perseverance will lead to triumph. Shield up.
Okay. See if we can interact with this one. Playing a lot of cards made me go, But just picked up our Gangplank. He could be huge here.
The space between worlds.
Pillage and burn.
I find them unworthy.
Needs like 3 combat tricks to kill us with this thing.
Bold, aren't you?
We walk between realms.
Okay.
Return what was taken.
I guess we should have just taken that.
I am reborn of salt and brine.
Let's see if this is enough. It doesn't feel like it. It'd feel a lot better if we just had our unit. But, like, we do die to just 1 combat trick if we don't block anything there.
Explosives. A chill in the air.
Bring Nightbloom.
Okay,
Oh,
let's
so
see where
sorry.
this gets us.
Leaping into action. Spread your fire.
Come on, chase!
I will not be beaten.
I mean, the board looks good. It seems like he has another play or something here, but... Okay.
Take back what is ours.
Alright, welcome back to the club, Sejuani. Okay. Oh boy, if there's ever a way to get out of this mess, that's certainly it. See if we... I wonder if he'll ever attack with it. If he attacks with it, we can take it down in combat.
The heavens diminish without my attention.
That makes me feel better.
Something's wrong.
There's no invokes that answer Sejuani here. Okay. Boy, that took a lot of work. I was not expecting that to take so much work. Maybe we should have spent that brittle steel, but I mean, the damage didn't come down to it though, so I don't know. As far as this goes, we're not taking it the stairs. I mean, he's been better than I've given it credit for. I still don't like it, but he's put in a bit of work. Troll Chant is kind of interesting in 2 ways. It gets rid of a Bilgewater card to make us more Freylordy, and it's still interactive. I think this is what we want to pick up. Let's have a nice little 2-for-1 outlet here. The parlay just doesn't hit very many targets. Okay. The pre-final battle. We're gonna call the round 5 games the pre-final battle. It's gotta be the pre-final battle. Get it when these decks have like Freylord in it, or I mean Bilgewater in it. That's very similar to what we're doing. The Shadow Isles strikes me as strange. There's no pairings with Ash or Sejuani that match into Shadow Isles, so I'm not real sure what he would have taken here. I'm not interested in the Outriders. I think we should probably let it go. I'd like to find a 1-drop here.
Yep. This is gonna be fun.
Alright, just gotta make it to 12.
This land is ours.
Easy peasy.
Tide's coming in.
Pretty good start. Not gonna lie. Ooh, just the actual do nothings from our opponent. That sucks. It sucks for you, my friend. Well, I guess we're just gonna draw all of our champions, though. It makes Feel the Rush a little worse.
Show me a target.
Okay. So, what do we even have going on next turn? We could play Gangplank or the Spirit Walker. Probably just want to play the Spirit Walker post combat. Okay. Okay. Do we just need to play Gangplank now? The thing with playing Gangplank is we have Feel the Rush in our hand.
I wanna play.
We want to get these in.
These are our lands.
Okay.
Ow!
There is truth in blood.
Seems okay. What you got, bud? Big old Ash. Got it. Doesn't open. This is getting frostbitten for sure. Okay.
Knocked and ready.
This seems fine. I mean, we're getting built up to 2 turns from now, or 2 attack tokens from now. We're going to Feel the Rush. It'll be 3 turns from now. So as long as we just don't die to Ash in that time, I think we should be okay. I'd like to get a little bit more chunk damage in before that point, but
Winter is the Freljord's true ruler.
hit here.
Ice runs in our veins.
Pain is nothing.
See how this plays out. I feel like she's just going to get frostbitten a very large percentage of the time, but she should be off board before the next one comes around. I'd like to see him make a lot of investment in this Sejuani.
Stand and fight.
See what happens here. We need to clear out our board a little bit. Let's see if he gets overly clever and just lets us get the plunder in. Okay. And do we want to play a defensive troll chant? Make this a 2 attack, 3 health archer? Probably do. Oh, we just did not math. Whoops. Whoops, did not math that one properly. Whoops. That's alright, we'll recover.
I'll lead us to victory.
Right, is he going to lethal us here? He has to Crystal Arrow if he wants to lethal us, but... guess he doesn't. Yeah, I guess the troll chant would be pretty useful here. Not gonna lie about that. When it comes down to it, I mean, if we have to, we can entreat our Sejuani and then Fury of the North something. And that'll shuffle a Sejuani back into our deck for our Field of Rush next turn. Assuming that... How much is that, like a 6 mana play? Or 4 plus 2, and then we need to keep 3 banked.
Shatter them.
So how much is this? Oh, that'll work. It's just the downside to this is we won't get multiple Sejuanis out of this,
No survivors.
or we won't get multiple 10-10s out of this play. So maybe we don't want to feel the rush. He's got a crystal arrow backed up. It's fine.
We go where the War Mother bids. Let fury spill from the sky. Many tribes, one Freljord.
So I really just want to slam the Sejuani in here. I don't think we could pull this off. Maybe we can. Let's see what happens. I think what's going to happen is he's going to make an obvious block here. Put like 6/6 or 7/6 in front of her. She's going to die. Then he's going to open with Crystal Arrow, and we're going to follow up with Field of Rush. I don't think that may not be enough to survive the blocks here, but knew something was up.
Ye started without me.
These get frostbitten. Unfortunately, they do not survive Crystal Arrows. Yeah, I think we're just going to be dead here. Crystal Arrow like a 6/6. These are going to shrink. They'll attack. Yeah. So we'll shrink our 10-10. We put Sejuani in front of, say, Ash. Well, it doesn't matter if we put it in front of here. Yeah, we're dead. Save some time. Come on, KDA thing, get out of the way. trying to push the button. Okay. I was glad to see the Outriders hit though. That was a real perk to what we have going on here. It's kind of the idea that we're trying to finalize ourselves to. But with this, I am good to get rid of Alpha Wildclaw. I do like having one Rhymetusk Shaman in our deck, and this will help push our curve down a little bit. I'm pretty happy to have this added in. I don't want to take away like too much of our top end, but I think we're getting in a pretty good spot here. So much going on that game. Just couldn't quite get that Field of Rush going. I'll blame it on missing our allegiance. That's why we lost. Swains and Sejuanis. Hang on to our 2-drop, find some cheapers. Alright. Ancient, yeah. I mean, you only need one copy if you're going to draw it in your opener every time. Get you down here, Fizz. Then I plan on opening these. What we see out of these decks is they tend to play a ton of like the 2/3s, and I don't want to play a Starlit Seer into the 2/3s and not really be able to profitably attack with anything. It's like he thought about playing Death's Hand onto Fizz and decided against it. Maybe he'll come back and do it now that we've spent our Troll Champ mana. Works for me. Very low value champion in our deck. Combos. We got the Ember Maiden Prowling Cutthroat combo.
Who's gonna get in my way?
Okay. We might get a good troll chant here at some point. I didn't want to just spend a troll chant on one card. Like, we're not in a big hurry to be doing a bunch of aggressive things here. So,
For the glory of Nox.
okay to just go ahead and bank that.
Eyes up here.
Now, if he wants to just like bounce damage on our Starlit Seer, okay. If he wants to trade with Icevale Archer, okay. If he plays another unit, we get a good troll chant. Ideal. But it just felt like this wasn't a big enough deal.
Reporting for duty.
Has nugged us for a lot of damage, though. That's for certain. I'll give you 2-0, you give you neg.
This will be a good winter.
Duty.
Victory at any cost.
Okay, so let's get this cleared out.
Let's not ruffle our feathers.
Just try to save as much damage on the board as we can. So that's why we kept the Icevale Archer back.
The winter's claw strikes.
Gotta keep double checking to see if he's playing Darius. How did he damage us? We blocked everything. Oh, the Grenadier. Okay. Oh, sick draw. Sick draw. God, I hope this is a whirling death. Okay. Okay. Got the same lineup of cards. If he attacks, it seems pretty safe to block with Icevale Archer. The idea is it's going to leave this at 1. We'll kill it with Ember Maiden. Ember Maiden will do its thing next turn.
What you
And
take.
we have some things we can do with Take Heart.
Stand and fight.
Do similar things here. Is this too greedy? So, like, the choices being we can block Sejuani with this thing. I don't want to fall to Noxus Blast range. I'm going to put one in front. Might be dead here. It just feels too greedy to block Sejuani. Oh, she flipped. Fuck me. I guess it doesn't change anything.
Claw endures.
I didn't pay attention to that. But, oh no. The first time you damage. Okay.
Destruction feeds my fire.
So we're back to Noxus Blast range. But... we're just... There's such a big chance. I think we're probably just dead here. But
Sejuani.
we didn't have enough damage to kill without doing this. Did we prevent all the damage we could this game? We let that one attack in with the Grenadier. I'm curious if I'm going to be regretting that. He's taking fuck all forever to think about this, though. maybe he doesn't have a lethal.
Deploying.
The Leviathan. That'll kill us. I did the mathematics on that one. So how does this work? We hook Sejuani with Ember Maiden. Then he takes... the Leviathan blocks Sejuani. The Ballista blocks the Yeti. We play Take Heart on the Yeti. Gives him 8 attack. He comes in for 5. I think, yeah, we're just dead.
The calm before the
You
storm.
need him to put, like, the Leviathan in the wrong place.
Ride onward. Stand and fight.
Maybe he'll go. Maybe he'll block the wrong one. Oh man! Oh man! He did it. Uh-oh.
Burn them
Okay.
all.
Okay. All right. Sometimes you just gotta go for it. we got the heart's pumping now. This shit's looking good. If you didn't have it okay. So if you didn't have it last turn, you didn't have it this turn.
Nothing can stop us.
We got our unit hit our Overwhelm. This is only going to deal 1 to us.
Who goes there?
Okay, okay.
Let the flames
Damn. Damn. Well, it's close.
they left me alive. That's
Good game, friend. Man, I wish we could go back and play that a little differently. I didn't quite grasp how much damage we were going to be taking from his non-interactive units there. But, oh, we clicked that too quickly. Just going to stay up on the LOR Guardian. Cool. And so yeah, I mean, this deck came together okay. I think you know, whenever these start out, ideally you're going to be able to pick a couple card pools that work well together, and the card pools right at the beginning were very trash, right? We had the choice between Spellslinger's Fizz, Disruption Darius, both of which we consider to be bottom tier champions, and then the Raiding Party Sejuani, which is very good, and so we were happy to take Sejuani. In Pack 2, we had the choice between this Fishbones Fizz, which is far away from what Sejuani's trying to do. But then the other choices were like, they weren't exciting. It was a Death's Door Ezreal with horrible cards, and something I can't remember. It was probably like a Ionia champion or something. But you know, the way I like to look at these is, you know, it's tough for us to tell how well we're doing in Expedition because there's no ranked format. If this was, you know, something in like Constructed or, you know, any other game where they have, you know, ranked limited formats, I would look at this as being a huge success. And you know, kind of the things that we look at ourselves doing here are, you know, taking a set of, you know, bad card pools, putting together a 4-win chain, both of which games were very close when we lost in the 4th round, to whereas, you know, someone that's less experienced might be able to take this to 2 wins or 3 wins. You know, it's really grinding out those edges. You know, if the average wins for a you know, Sejuani Fizz style deck like this is 2, and we were able to take it to 4, then that's a huge success, right? If there's more successes in this than just hitting 7 wins, and so I think in that kind of sense, this was quite the victory. In that, you know, we got the Sejuani and then just a pile of garbage in the as far as the second set of champions were concerned. But, we knew what we were getting ourselves into. We knew that we were going to have to decide pretty early if we were going to, pursue the ways of the Fishbones and try to be an ultra aggressive deck, which is tough with Sejuani because she doesn't have any 1-drops in her card pool except for the one Yeti Yearling, or were we going to pursue this kind of Sejuani plunder strategy, which is ultimately what we tried to put together. And, at least, with this Fishbones theme, there are a lot of good, kind of early game plays that do play well to the plunder strategy. Just, we're going to have a gigantic pile of 1-drops. I think we started with 11 1-drops. And so when you're able to just really come out and go wide right at the beginning of the game, that does help with these plunders. Nonetheless, it's not what we ultimately were trying to do. We did kind of pivot into this overwhelm strategy, and I thought we got ourselves into a pretty good spot as far as our top end is concerned. With the one Shaman, 2 Reavers, 2 Wild Claws, 2 Sejuanis, 1 Ancient Yeti, If That Stares, and then, of course, Feel the Rush Gangplank. Ideally, we would have been able to convert this like If That Stares into another Ancient Yeti and called it a day. And I would have been pretty happy with that top end. And so I thought that part of it looked good. Our curve looked pretty good because we had all these Fishbones cards. We recognized that the big problem that this deck is going to run into is its ability to make interactive plays. There's no real removal spells in either of these card pools. And so we did, go out of our way to pick up this Caught in the Cold and to pick up this Chum the Waters so that we have ways to interact with our opponent's things that aren't things that aren't Sejuani. And I thought this turned out pretty reasonably well. And so, if we had, known that we were going to land into Fishbones, would we have taken Sejuani first? Probably not. But, knowing that we're taking Sejuani, ideally we'd get a better pairing than Fizz. If we would have picked up a Gangplank or a Twisted Fate as one of the Bilgewater champions or one of the Dariuses, we would have been fine. One of the various aggressive Dravens would have been great, but that stuff didn't happen, and that's not going to happen every trial that we do, and it's not going to happen every trial that you do. And so I really don't want people getting in the mindset that a trial isn't successful unless you get 7 wins, because I think this one here was very successful. And realistically, the way you need to be ranking success is, number 1, did you have fun? I thought this was a pretty fun one. We had some pretty epic moments in this. Number 2, did you learn anything? I think we picked up some moments here. We definitely learned that if you're going to troll chant a 1 health unit into a 5 attack unit, that your unit's still going to die. And so, I mean, that was that was some basic mathematics that we picked up today. And, I thought, got a good little interaction going on here. We got to pick up where our deck strengths were, where the kind of overlap between these two card pools were, and how we could try to make the best of the garbage that we were offered. And so I thought it turned out pretty well here. I thought we were so close into converting to just being this like ultra powerful Sejuani Overwhelms deck. I mean, we had the 2 Outriders, we had all of the top end. It was just a matter of really kind of cleaning up this bottom end a little bit. And we would have been right there. But, not successful in the sense of 7 wins, but I think overall a pretty reasonable success in my books. And so that is going to do it for us today. I know there's a reward because I accidentally clicked on it. Let's see what comes out of the capsule real quick. Wild card and a bunch of stuff we already had. And then there may be some stuff otherwise here. Oh man, we've got all the loots. What is this? The Aphelios card back. Got it. Go us. What's this? The exclusive Lunar Celebration icon. Nailed it. Ooh, and the epic prismatic chest. Let's see who's about to turn premium. Oh, it's just got to be Captain Farron, right? He just crushes all these games. He comes down, he generates cards. I guess to a degree, Eye of the Dragon does generate cards, but it seems like we see Captain Farron a lot more frequently than Eye of the Dragon. So he's going to be the one that we pick. He's one of my fave pieces of top end. Even nerfed, he's still pretty powerful. Holy shit, 350 essence. Fucking nice. Man, I'm not going to have to buy coins for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, maybe even a year. But nonetheless, that is going to do it for us today. Hope you all learned how to make the best of the worst a little bit better. You had a good time watching and maybe an educational moment or two. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.